your listings today. So we're going to go ahead and transition over to my screen. I'm going to start out on brightmls.com. Today's going to walk you through really quickly just where you can get the help you need when you need it. We're going to go through a really high level overview of where you find everything, but today's focus really is going to be all about listings. We're going to go ahead and walk you through profile sheets and addendums, where they are, why they're useful. And then we're going to go through adding and editing listings. And that is the listing management system. Everything from working your dashboard to full listing and photos and documents. So let's go ahead and get started. I will be going between two systems because my personal training account is on the production, which is where you guys are. Excuse me. We don't want to play with listing data on there because that'll mess up you guys and your comps with fake listings. So we're not going to do that. That means that I will be toggling into a test or training account as well. For now, I'm going to start here on my account. I'm going to zoom this in. We have had reports recently that some of the text has continued to be a little illegible just because of the size on the screen. If you're on a mobile device, know that there's only so much we can do. You'll want to watch this later as well on your computer. So zooming in, I want to point out a couple things. We have in the support drop-down, the first resource is the help topics. That's the current online KB. Those articles are really specifically linked in and throughout all of the Bright search system fields for integrated help. We also have support.brightmls.com, which is our new KB site. It's also the training website. So this is where you'll go. Looks much newer and more innovative, right? We are currently still publishing content on there, but there's quite a bit here. All you have to do is search for maybe listings, and you'll get anything that will have listings in it. This is much easier to search than the articles, where I'm going to show you how to find articles, but the article search isn't as easy to use as this. Training, you'll also be able to find not only the streaming training that we offer, but we have outreach training as well. So you can look up that information there. In addition, you can find us on Facebook. And I just want to point out that a lot of these, well, all of these links are going to be shared with you in the description below the YouTube video after we go off live. And so you'll be able to come back here. We'll have a link to the Facebook posted for you, all of these different resources so that you don't have to worry about scrounging around and trying to find it while I'm talking about it. And I do apologize. I do have a cold, so I might have a few little sniffles in there. I know it super annoys me, so hopefully you guys can hang with me through that. The last thing that we're going to talk about, and we're not going to actually show it to you yet because we're not there, but is inside the listing management itself. There are definitions throughout listing management. So if you ever needed to know what something is or means, you'll find that same level of integration or help as you do currently in the search system when you click those little question mark icons. We're going to go into the My Listings menu. This is where we're going to be today for the most part. But just to kind of give you a high-level introduction, the navigation really tells you where to go for what it is that you're going to be doing. If you're searching for something, public records, listings, businesses, agents information, search is where you go. Anything that is going to connect you to a client, a lead, or a contact, you'll find under the Clients menu, in addition to access to showings, auto emails, all of those different things. We also have the Finance tab where you'll find your closing costs, your financial benefits, county tax rates, amortization schedule. You got your market research, and this is where your market statistics and the performance report are found. If you are a broker or an office manager or staff person who has been given permission access, you will see the brokerage tab. Otherwise, you will not. So that is not something that you should expect to see otherwise. And in more is where you'll find, of course, the policies, some other resources. Our commercial agents, commercial appraisals will use the CAS forms, for example, but also the agent and office production over here to the left. So with that said, back under my listings, I'm going to click on this third item, which is profile sheets. And the profile sheets are really fantastic. The purpose of the profile sheets is to make it easier for you to have something in your hands and do maybe a walkthrough on a property when you're preparing to enter that listing. Now, I do want to preface this by saying listing management is responsive. So if you have a tablet or an iPad, or even your phone, really, you could log into the browser on your phone and go right into listing management and complete the listing as you do your walkthrough. It's entirely up to what you find more efficient for you. But you'll see here that we do have the profile sheets. It's listings on paper. And so if I go in here and I open one of these, you'll see that it shows me the PDF. Anything bold with an asterisk will be required in the system. And so as we scroll through here, you'll be able to see that this is going to give you everything you need to add your listing. Now, this could also be something that maybe you're a team, member of a team, and someone else is responsible for filling in this residential sheet and then handing it to you when it's time to enter. Really, the workflows vary, and it could be anything. So however you guys are working the system. Now, that's the residential sale profile sheet. If you are listing, for example, a property that has an HOA or is in a condominium, you're going to want to also come over to the addendum list. And you're going to want to get the HOA condo co-op addendum. Bear with me a second. Excuse me. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close that out. This is again found in the My Listings drop-down. And we're going to move now into the Add and Edit Listings, which is really just the link that takes you into listing management. Now, I'm not going to do that here. This is where we move over into our test environment because this stuff, here we go. This is our training environment. We're going to be able to do a couple different things here. So you'll notice across the top there is this sort by most important first. If I hit the drop down, I do have 4 different search options. The most important first is the default. And really the others are pretty self-explanatory, but the most important first, make sure that it shows you, for example, a draft listing, because that's something that you are working on right now. So it is a higher priority. It will also automatically move listings that are going to expire up to the top. So it's anything that's going to require some sort of an action is considered to be most important, and it will automatically filter those up to the top for you. You can also access the profile sheets from inside the listing management dashboard, and you'll see the new listing button, which we'll get to here in a moment. If I want to sort for a piece of property, I can simply start typing anything. Well, everything is road, so that's not going to help us there. But if I start typing anything, it could be address, it could be status, it could be price. As I start typing this, it'll automatically filter. You can backspace to edit or use the X over here to eliminate. And so that means that you can really get to what you need more quickly. Excuse me. The next thing that we're going to go ahead and talk about, I already alluded to, is the draft versus the published. And a draft listing is a listing that you've started and it's sitting in your dashboard, but it hasn't actually been submitted into the system. So it has not been published. And that means nobody else can see it yet. So you can see here that I have it looks like I'm selling a dock. It's a lot land property. And it does have an MLS number. So even though it's a draft, we do assign the MLS number to the property for you, kind of reserves your space. And you can see that this is specifically a lease. So we have the edit button, which will take me into the full listing mode. We have the more button, which will allow me to do any variation of additional activities that I'm permitted to use. Now, the only reason you'll see the showing in this case is disabled is because the listing's not published yet. It's the only thing that you can't do until the listing is published. And that's because once you publish a listing, that's the action that sends the information to the showing time database so that it can then be created. Until the listing's published, showing system is not linked in. But you have access to even uploading your photos here. I'm not going to use the current draft to show you guys. I'm going to start a new listing here instead. Excuse me. So we're going to click on new listing. Clicking the new listing begins what's called the initial listing setup process. It's a wizard of sorts. It's a 4-step process in which we are collecting important details that's going to further dictate what fields you are presented with when you enter your full listing. It makes no sense that you land on a listing page that has every single potential field in it because it'd take you even longer to enter just bypassing the fields you don't need. So in this case, I can click residential. I can choose the structure, and you'll notice that there's help built all throughout. Even though we showed you some of the places you can get help when we first started, help is always available. So you'll see that as I open these different boxes, it already has the help underneath of it. So down here, I can actually click hide the help options if I don't feel I need to see them. But it is entirely up to you if you want to see them or not. You can toggle them on and off. So we're going to make this detached. We'll leave that as fee simple. We're going to go to next. The tax is really the first step, in my opinion. The first part for property is just telling us what kind of property you're entering. The tax is the first time that you get really specific about the listing itself. Excuse me. So here you've got a number of ways to pull the actual tax record for the property you're entering. You can type the tax ID, you can search for the address, and if you have to, you could proceed without the tax record. It will require that you enter all of the address details. I do not recommend just jumping to that if you can't find the tax record, because tax records really 99% of the time are always there. The only time you're not going to find the tax record is if it is a brand new property, it's a new builder, maybe the county hasn't sent it to us yet, which again happens in very rare occasions. Very rare. So you should always have a tax you should always have a tax record. So you can type the tax ID. What I find easiest is going into Bright Search, looking for the tax record for the property, and then copying and pasting the tax ID. You can also come over here and put in a street name and a city. Because this is a training environment, we don't have a lot outside of where headquarters are located. So if you type anything in and you hit search, here's what's going to happen. It's going to try to search for everything in Rockville, Maryland, but it is only going to return 25 results. So think about even a condo building that you're entering. If it's a large condo and all you put is the building address, you're still likely going to struggle finding the unit, depending on how many units exist and if it comes up in the first 25. So try to put in as much of the address as you can. When I select, now over here in the left, when you do have multiple different options that appear, you will have to select one. If it comes up with just the one listing that you searched for, it automatically displays the map over here on the right. If for some reason this is inaccurate, and I can also zoom in here and make sure. If it's inaccurate, maybe it's over here across the street by accident. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen, and that just happens because of some longitude or latitude data is sometimes going to be incorrect when we get that tax information. You can move this, and it's really important you do so, because if this pin is all the way over here and I stop my map search, for example, at this first street, your listing is not going to come up. Okay? When you're done, you're ready to click the next button. When you're on the first property step in this initial listing setup, the only back arrow you get is this back arrow up here. On the tax location, you'll see, and on the, I believe, pricing, we'll take a look here in a second. Let's say that this has an HOA. You'll also see perhaps this orange back bar. Nope, it's only on the tax location. So if you use this up here at the top left, you'll exit. And if you don't go past tax, it won't save anything. So you want to make sure you get at least that far. We're going to say this is, let's do 530,000. And we're going to go status active. And we'll say exclusive agency. Now, I want to point out, even though this is a required field, I don't have to necessarily enter this at this moment. I can still click next to go to the full listing. It will go ahead, take a moment to create the full listing form, and it brings me here. So I'll always have access to those fields to be able to complete in order to publish when I'm ready to publish. All right, couple things. So you might have a few days, or you might be planning to enter this over a week's time. If you are trying to get to specific fields right away just to get that stuff entered now, you can go over here to the top right and use the find a field. This allows me to, for example, type the word pet, okay? And you'll notice that PET is not only a actual word, which are pets, but it's part of carpet. So this search is really going to help identify any of the fields that contain the word or partial word or phrase that you're looking for. And so if I go back here and I say carpet, it'll show me everything that has carpet in it. If I click on that field, it would jump me to it. And so you can see here I am on flooring type, and you'll notice that flooring type is highlighted yellow. That's meant to help draw your attention to the field that you're looking for. And it usually comes to the top of the page when you're actually clicking on it. Excuse me. The other thing that we have here, if I hit the drop down box, are different ways to navigate your listing. So right now you'll see there is a cursor in this drop down box. But if the flooring type is carpet, I can start typing in here as well. And as I start typing, you'll notice that it automatically filters for me. I can use the down arrow and the up arrow to scroll through if you don't want to use your mouse. I can hit the enter to select and insert the highlighted option. Excuse me. Now, some of these drop-down boxes do not necessarily require only one selection. You can put multiple. So if inside of this property it doesn't only have some full carpet, it might be partially carpeted and have hardwood floors. Excuse me. So now we have two different options in there. So some of these boxes are not going to limit yourself to just one. Over here on the left, you'll notice that we have a lot of these bright pink bubbles, okay? The bright pink bubbles are indicating that there are required items within this listing still. Now I can navigate the screen using my mouse, right? You see I can click here and jump up here. I can select the listing agreement type, scroll through, and actually interact with it this way. But I can also, you'll notice that my cursor is in the expiration date box. I can use Control or Command, depends on what environment you're using, and I for indigo. And it's going to jump me automatically to short sale, which is the next required field. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm not going to use the mouse. I'm going to use the right and left arrow key to show you that I can actually select that way as well. So there's a lot of ways to navigate, whatever way is more efficient for you. I can tab through these, sale type, use the drop down arrow to go through, hit enter to select. So there's a lot of ways. For me, I'm slower with a mouse, so the hotkeys and the keyboard are far faster for me. So it just depends on your style. So let's see what else is on the list here. Rooms and room details. So if I go over here, I hit the X, it removes the carpet, and we can type in the word rooms. And you're going to see again, it shows me all of the locations where I can find rooms. And so this just happens to be one of them. There is a dining room and an exercise room. Woohoo! Fantastic. Not a senior community. Over here on the left, however, you're going to see features and rooms. And you can click on, now you do have to click to interact with the left side navigation. And this is going to automatically jump me to where I add the different levels and the rooms on each level. In this case, this is going to be a single family home. It has one bedroom on the main level, one bath, and one half bath. But it also has an upper level. To add the upper level, I click on this add upper level, and it is above the main level. So it's really going to help it make sense. Upper levels go above. And so it gives you a really good visual of where you're adding your rooms. There are 3 additional bedrooms and 2 additional full baths upstairs. If there is a basement, we're going to add the lower level. There are no bedrooms, no full baths, but there is a half bath. And as we scroll down here now, you're going to see the total bedroom count at 4, and it automatically calculates for you your bedroom and bathroom counts. So there are 3 full, 2 half, total bathrooms are 5. And in this property, there are 18 different rooms. The interior features is next below that. So you can come over here and say there's a bar in the basement. It's got a breakfast area. It might even have a second kitchen. So you can enter any of those other interior features. We have appliances. And as we scroll through here, we've got your fireplaces and your exterior features. What else do we have here? Hold on. Scroll back up. The other thing that you're seeing here now, once you've got your levels added, you've put the bedroom, bathroom, half bath in, you're ready to add additional details. For example, this main level. If I have a situation where I am perhaps bringing family members in to live with me, maybe elderly or sick people, And I know that my main level master bedroom has to be a master bedroom. It can't just be a bedroom, right? I can add room details and look for or type to make it easier to search and filter the master bedroom. It's on the main level. I can tell you, excuse me. Hold on once. Ah! I am so sorry, guys. Excuse me. I can add the room length and width, and I can tell you what features exist inside of this master bedroom. So as I scroll through here, it might have chair rails and ceiling fans, and flooring might be hardwood. So there's a lot that you can tell everyone about the bedroom that you're adding, or really any other room that you're adding. And we do save and close. Now, a lot of people love all of the new search functionality in search that allows them to search for main level bedroom with a sitting room, for example, but that only works if you add it. So if you want your listing to, without a doubt, show up, you have to make sure that you're adding not only the rooms and the levels, but you really want to make sure you're adding all of the room details. So this is your opportunity to really market that property. Yes, people tend to want to rely on photos, but photos can only say 1,000 words, is the saying, right? Picture can say 1,000 words. You can put 1,020 by actually making sure that the room details are in. So the next thing that we are going to talk about, look at my list here. Definitions. So if I activate a column or a field, I should say, you're going to see that a definition appears. So just like we were pointing out with the show hide on the initial listing setup, you have help here as well. So let me close out that and scroll up. Status, for example. So here we are again. The hide options help. I can hide it if I want, or I can show. This is really going to help you not only identify what the status means, but it's also going to help you identify what happens with the days on market when you use it. For example, active under contract is still available for showing. It's an active property. It's being marketed. It's in the showing. You can still schedule to go see it, and they're taking backup offers. And in those cases, the days on market accumulated. If we scroll down here to pending, for example, which is the difference of active under contract, it's really the same thing, only one says, the seller says, no, I don't want to accept backup offers and I don't want it to be available for showing. So that's when you use pending. And in those cases, the days on market do not accumulate. So it's entirely going to depend on your situation. But there it is, definitions and help with the days on market. Excuse me. The next thing that we're going to do, we're not going to actually complete the entire listing. That would take us longer than the hour that we have. But we are going to talk about the photos. So here we go. We have pictures, and I do have some photos that I've got downloaded. You can add photos a number of different places. I can jump down here clicking on the menu on the left. I can say lister will upload and then click upload photos. It's going to bring me to the terms of use, which I accept, and I have a number of ways to now upload those images. I can go into the Finder, I can locate my folder, and come in here and drag and drop something in. So there's a drag and drop feature. I'm going to go ahead and go back to this screen. When I go back here, I did not save that change because I want to show you the other stuff. I can navigate straight to the computer if I don't already have that folder open. If you have Dropbox or OneDrive and you have a photographer that shares with you the photos or videos or tours that they take, you'll have the ability, without having to download all of that every single time to your computer, Um, One-stop shop. Click on the Dropbox button. It'll require that you log in, and you'll be able to locate the folder right from here. Okay? And then you can upload it that way. You can also come up here to the top left. There's an Add Photos button. And that, again, will also take you through. The terms of use will always appear until you load your first photo. Once you load your first photo, it stops opening. You can also use this back arrow to return to your dashboard. And on the dashboard, from the More menu, you'll have access to photos here. And you also can click on the photo image well right there on the dashboard. So we do try to make it as easy as possible for you. I'm going to accept. I'm going to come over here and select a bunch of these images. And I'm going to drag and drop them. That's my favorite method. All right. We now have a total of 5 images processed, and it is ready to go. There are a number of things that we can do with our imagery. I do have to choose which one is the main exterior image, so I'm going to check the main photo checkbox. You'll notice that right now it's not even the first image, and it doesn't have to be. The sort order, or the order in which you place these images, will show you how to do that. Bears no mind on which one the main photo is. If your main exterior is not the best view of the property, put it last. The next thing that we have here is editing your photos. I'm going to go up here and click the edit button. It's going to take me into the full edit mode. And you're going to notice that it looks a little bit fuzzy. You can try to increase things like brightness and adjust contrast to make it a little bit better. Fuzziness is difficult to fix. And fuzziness will happen if you do not upload a high resolution or high definition image. The website will tell you what it considers the size to be. You can also very easily navigate through these pictures simply by clicking in the film strip. If I want to crop out these 2 gentlemen that are walking, I can go over here and click on the crop button and work on cropping some of that out. So you really can do a lot with it. Be careful that cropping, however, even a good photo, doesn't take you down to be a low quality photo. So we'll save that change. You'll notice that when you save a change, the bottom right hand corner, I can still keep working. It's just going to tell me when it's saved, and then it will eventually disappear. So I can adjust brightness, I can adjust contrast or lower contrast. It's entirely up to what you're looking for. And I can saturate the colors, which makes what looked like a great photo even better. So I'm going to go ahead and click save there. It's going to keep going, and then I can even return back to, I did save you. What are you talking about? There we go. Now that I've cropped some photos, or now that we are done editing, we're ready to talk about how do you know if what you uploaded is a low or high resolution. And that's where these little red dots come from. These are telling you that this photo is low resolution and may not look good. You can come up here to the top right, click Save Photos, and it will go ahead and save whatever it is that we've done and finish all of our upload. If you want to change the order of your photos, simply click Sort, drag and drop. Or if I want this to be the first, I can click Move to Top, and it automatically jumps there. I'm ready to save those photos and return to the listing. So the same process also works for documents. If I come down here and I jump to the documents, I can tell it what documents I'm actually uploading. So you can see there's quite a number of them here. Perhaps you're doing the lead paint, maybe it's a survey, maybe it's some other document. Now, you can also type in here. So if I wanted to really quickly type seller property disclosure, I can then find it, because maybe I was looking for D's for disclosure. There's a lot to memorize, but the good news is you don't really have to, because typing that in will automatically filter for you. Click your Upload Documents button, and you're on your way. There are 3 types of excuse me. There are 3 types of document uploads. Agent and clients. This means that when you upload the document, not only will agents see it inside of the Matrix search, the Bright search system, but the clients will see it from the selling agents or the buying agents that have people set up on auto emails. If your listing shows up in their auto email, for example, then that specific buyer's client can view those listing documents. And so that's agents and clients. If you only want agents, you're going to select agents only. You're going to go through here. I do believe we have a document folder in here. Maybe, maybe not. We'll just use one of these. Oh, and guess what? I don't have any PDFs. I was going to use another computer. I had it all set up. So it has to be a PDF document as well. And then you have your floor plan. So I'm going to try to find one on my computer instead of Dropbox, because I do believe I have PDFs on here. There we go. We'll just upload this. So what happens when you add a document is you will see it listed with the title as it was saved on your computer. You will want to change that. So if it's, the file name, if it's a disclosure document, you'll want to disclosure document, give it a name. Also note that if your file name is more than 50 characters, you'll see this box with a big red border around it, because you do have to have that be less than 50 characters. And that's okay. If you have something to say about that document, you've got the description, the optional description listed below it. At any time, if I decide I want this document to also be available to agents and clients, I can come back here and modify the permission settings. And then that third one was the floor plan. So if you have a floor plan that you want to upload, you would select floor plan. Hit save. Documents are uploading, and I can keep working as it's working as well. Once that little message at the bottom right disappears, you'll notice that it is now finished. So you'll want to continue to enter the rest of your listing. And at this point, we're going to exit the listing and we're going to move into some other listing tools. We've walked through where to get help, profile sheets, the navigating your dashboard, the initial listing setup, and the, full listing with some specific guidance there. Now I want to show you your My Listings. So in the My Listings dropdown, there is this View My Listings item. The View My Listings is going to take you into the Bright search, and it's going to show you your listings right here. From here, you'll have access to either click the actual MLS and view your listing. You can even use this pencil icon all the way over to the right. I'm going to zoom in and make that larger. So all the way over here to the right is the pencil icon. That's going to take you, the listing agent, back directly into the listing to edit it, so that you don't have to navigate yourself throughout the whole listing management process. In here is where you will click to view the listing performance report. The listing performance report, in the test environment, I'm not 100% sure will show us anything, but we'll try it. The listing performance report's really kind of, I like to describe it as a combination market report and CMA. What it's going to do is it's going to take a bunch of, it's 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. We know that this specific listing does have 3 beds and 3 baths. So what this is doing is it's mirroring the listing information around a certain price range. And it's trying to search for all of the other property that's active that is like this property and give you a report based on how is your listing doing. And so because this is a training environment, you're not actually going to see any numbers because there's not a lot of activity that happens in here, but it'll give you an idea of what you're going to get. This is your listing summary. So it's going to give you an idea on what your listing appointments are compared to, in this case, the 2.5 that are currently out there on the matching property comparable to yours. How many people are favoriting your listing versus others. Has it come up in direct emails in the past 4 weeks or auto emails? The difference between auto, email, and direct is that when it's a direct email, the buying agent has actually seen your listing and said, ooh, check email, check this listing out, Joe buyer. Auto email happens automatically in the auto email, of course. You've got some competitive market breakdown on what criteria was used, the days on market compared to the 28-day market activity with the different statuses. We'll also chart for you your property compared to other properties showing activity. I do need to preface this. It is really important that you understand this will only work if you are using showing time. Showing time is the Bright integrated showing system. So only showing time pulls into these reports. So make sure that that you or your brokerage is using showing time. Agent scheduled activity, so you'll see that there's also that, and the appointments before the contract, which is it received 4.5 appointments before the contract, 1.5 appointments during this time frame, this 4 to 6 months ago. Really good information. Sold listing info, portal activity. This is all built off of the auto email, direct email communication, where what are buyers looking at? Where's your listing appearing? And then we have the rest of the MLS email activity. So really great stuff. We'll close that. That was the first view into one of the resources you'll get for your listings. The next thing happens when you check one of your listings. When I check that listing, you'll see that this button bar across the bottom enables. And you'll see that I have the ability to click, excuse me. Thought I was going to sneeze. You'll see that I have the ability to click share. So when I click share, it opens up a link. I can copy that link, and when I go into a new tab and I view that listing, give it a second, you're actually seeing a marketable link that you, the listing agent, can actually share out there. Newspapers, websites, whatever, email signature. It's entirely up to however you want to market this listing. And then it brings that directly to you. So we can scroll through here. You'll see it has all the basic listing information. Interactive map. So they can open that up. They can use the boundaries that are available inside of the portal as well as your agent listing Bright search system. And we keep scrolling through there, and that's what you've got. So they have that. We also have this reverse prospecting link. Now, when I click on reverse prospecting, what it's going to do is it's going to give me the name of 3 real estate agents. Real estate agents, why? Well, because what this is telling me is that my listing at 540 Mount Harmon Road is showing up in these real estate agents' clients' either auto email or direct email. And what you're going to see here is when it was sent, and you'll see how many other listings were in whatever was sent. So in this case, it looks like auto emails. So training agent 2 down here. My listing was 1 of 8, which means there's 7 other listings that this person might have to get through. If this number, I've seen this number in triple digits. It just depends on how long people are working with someone and how many listings they've been delivered. The higher the number, that's when you really want to start, your outreach and say, if this was 28, for example, let me go back here and see if one of these does have a higher number. This is a test environment, again, so we might not have anything higher than that. We don't. So let's pretend this is 28. If this was 28, I may want to call this agent and say, hey, your client number 730 has my listing. I don't recognize that agent 2 has come through in my showing log, right? So I might want to reach out and offer or ask them what it is that their buyer's looking for. How can I make it easy to get them in there? You'll also see here that I know that that's worth the phone call or email because this person's client liked my property. And this client loved my property. You'll notice again, we only see agent information because we do not share anyone's contact information. We do not buy and sell any data of any kind. So what does that mean for you, the buyer agent? This means that if I get your phone call, oh, this account has no contacts. Hold on, let me go into my other account. If I get a phone call from a listing agent who says, hey, your client's got my listing showing up in their auto email. It looks like they loved it. This is what I'm looking for over here. So this reference number is going to match the number that listing agent is going to give you, or maybe they don't know that yet. Maybe they're figuring all of this out on their own, but you, the buyer agent, know exactly what they need. And you'll say, well, what reference number is it? Who is that? You'll then know that it's Mark. Okay. They're not going to have access to your contact information. They only have access to who you are. The next thing that we have is in this drop-down box. I can go to hit counters. And it's going to show, again, this is the test environment, so we're not going to have numbers here, but this is going to allow me to see that maybe my Country Club Road property has had certain number of portal views. This information used with the listing market report is information that is gold for you and your seller, so that when you guys meet every week to kind of catch up on what happened and the showings that might have come through, or maybe they've had no showings and you need to meet with them to keep them engaged so they know that you're working hard for them. This is the kind of statistics that just make us look really good, right? We know how many people are looking at your listing. We know how you compare to other showings in your listing type. It's a lot of really good stuff there. When you check the listing, you also have access to printing your listing inside of Bright Search. So there are some of those reports there. Give it a second. It's loading. And this is the training, so it does sometimes take a minute. So how are we doing, folks? Do we have any? Let me see if we had any questions coming. Nope, nothing coming through yet. That means Tiffany is answering all your questions. She's fantastic. Make sure you guys say thanks to Tiffany for helping you guys out there. And this is not going anywhere. So let me reload. View my listings. And I'm going to close out this other browser. I am a little slow today. We noticed. Here we go. Let me switch it back to my active listings. And there we are. So there are a couple other things that we can do. If I have, I'm the listing agent and I ran into someone at Starbucks who was talking about buying a dock. And I say to myself, wow, I might have the perfect dock. So I tell them about it. I get their email. One moment. Excuse me. I can actually send my listing directly to that potential buyer. So I'm going to go ahead and click email. I might type in their email address, or I already added them. It's entirely, I can't type and talk at the same time. Bright Instructor. If you do need to add the contact, you can do it even right from here. And this is the doc for sale. Great meeting you. Let me know if I can do anything. And then send. And I just emailed my listing to a potential client. You can also print it, and you'll have access to all the same print reports, HTML. Sorry, guys. You'll have access to all the same HTML and PDF print reports that you do elsewhere, with or without the header and so on. And then you can print that to PDF. You can even save it, email it, do whatever you like. You can preview it. I have the one-line format selected at the moment. And then you can go back to your listings. Now, the other one that I love is this directions. So if, for example, somebody needed to get there from 9707 Key West Avenue. That's a pretty far drive, I know. I can go ahead and find that stop. It'll say, where exactly do you want to go? And then I can select it. I can reorder all of the different stops that I might be putting on here. And when I come down to the bottom and click directions, it'll refresh everything. And it gives me access to turn-by-turn directions. I can email these and I can print them. I can add multiple start and stop points. So just because I added this custom stop here doesn't mean I'm limited to just that one. I can add a number of them. And so that's really, really helpful as well. Let's see, that was all I had. I do want to point out that there were a couple other things. We did have a question earlier. So we are going to show you where to find the listing history. So I'm going to go back into Bright, the regular Bright, because there's not a lot of content for us to use in the training environment. And I'll log in. All right. When it comes to you being the listing agent and accessing the listing history, you're going to be able to find that on your listing itself. Whoops, I did not mean to click on the photo. One moment. Ah, these are not published. I do need to go into the test environment. Sorry. One moment. We're going to go back into Add Edit Listings. And we're going to come down here into one of our published. When you have a listing and it's your listing, you can get to the history in the more menu. And this is where inside of the listing management, you're going to find your listing history. So this is the 547 different actions I took prior to publishing my listing. there have been 14 listing changes made after I published the listing. If you are an agent and you're a buyer agent trying to look for listing history, let me go back over here. Ha! Excuse me. You're going to go in here and switch to the 360 view. The 360 view, I am sorry, I am having a sneeze fest here, guys. This 360 view has the listing change information with the change type outlined, as well as the effective date and what the price change might have been. So that's where you'll find history. And that brings us to 5 minutes. So let's see. We're already here and there's no other questions coming through. So let's just do a quick walkthrough here. You can, again, from anywhere, edit your listing where the pencil is found. So even though I'm not on a one-line format, I can still find the pencil icon here. I can find, let me go into the full. I can find it here across the top. So these icons are pretty much everywhere. It makes it really easy to get to what you need. And then you have your listing performance report icon as well. So 360 view. The 360 view is really helpful. 360 view gives you access to the current listing that is currently active in the system. It gives you access to the public record that's also linked to it. The other thing that you get on the Agent 360 is a really nice, convenient view comparable properties link. When I click on that, it actually takes me into a list of public records that potentially match this property so that I can do a really quick, high-level CMA. The tax history is the tax history as well as the sale. You'll see the sale history. You've got, in many cases, a flood report. Some states like Pennsylvania do sketches. You might see sketches added here. We talked about history, and then we have maps. Maps is really neat. The maps offers you 3 different map views. The first one is strictly satellite. Now you can change these if you want it to be map. You can be map. You can zoom it in, zoom it out. It's entirely up to you on how you want this to print when you're ready to print it. This is the tax parcel map. Gives you some information there. Looks like there is an extended parking space as well that comes with it. And then you have the flood map down here with the legend. So you can actually print that map page. We are at the 2-minute mark. I want to make sure that if you ever run into a snag or you have a question, we did show you where the help is. But I also want to point out that there's a way for you to submit a case directly for help. So when you click submit a case, it's going to automatically take you into creating that case. It gives you some very popular articles off the top. I might have an inquiry about my bill. How do I set up auto pay? As I start typing in my question, you'll notice that on the right, you've got these articles that start to filter through. And these articles, again, are the ones that are built on the new support.brightmls.com KB, or knowledge base. So it's setting up auto pay. Oh, look, and now I have the answer. I can go read the article. I might not need to submit my question. If this is in reference to a listing, you're going to want to make sure and you put the MLS number there and assign any attachments. Perhaps you needed to change the listing agreement date. You accidentally put it in incorrectly. No, we will need the page of the contract that shows the correct date. We are very stringent on data integrity, and we do make sure that any change requests we get are valid. But you'll need to upload that attachment, maybe a name change. Make sure you upload your photo Sorry, your real estate license, for example. So there's that. I'm going to close this tab here. And that brings us to the last 30 seconds. So thank you, everyone, so much. Make sure that you come back here in a couple hours. At the bottom below the YouTube video, you'll see in the description box a list of all the links to the resources that you'll find. We do hope that you'll join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We will be here again Wednesday at 2:30. We look forward to seeing you then.